Level 1. The glitched observer. You are 19 years old, sitting in a cramped, dimly lit college dorm room that smells faintly of instant ramen and old books. Your main possession is a cheap, second-hand digital watch with a cracked screen and a flickering Casio logo. It's midnight, and you are staring at a blank computer monitor, trying to finish an essay when you reach for your lukewarm coffee mug. Suddenly, a cold shiver runs down your spine. You feel an intense, dizzying wave of déjà vu. You look down, and your hand is already holding the mug, but you distinctively remember just reaching for it. You look at your watch. The second's hand ticks backward once, then skips forward 3 seconds to catch up. You shrug it off as lack of sleep, a minor neurological glitch. You go to bed, but as your eyes close, you hear the distant, echoey sound of your own alarm clock ringing hours before it's supposed to. It's a tiny, embarrassing moment of confusion that leaves you feeling deeply uneasy. What nobody tells you at the beginning is that the timeline doesn't break all at once. It frays at the edges, starting with the people who pay too much attention. You fall asleep, completely unaware that your perception of linear time has just experienced its very first microscopic tear. Level 2. The glitch hunter. By age 21, you are no longer ignoring the anomalies. You spend your nights scrolling through obscure, unindexed internet forums, lurking in subreddits dedicated to chronic déjà vu and localized reality glitches. Your room is a mess of printed forum threads, cheap digital stopwatches, and notebooks filled with handwritten timestamps. You carry 3 different clocks with you, everywhere an old mechanical pocket watch, your phone, and a high-precision stopwatch. You begin to notice patterns. You walk into a local convenience store, and the cashier greets you by name, asking if you forgot your keys again, even though you haven't been in that shop all week. When you look at the counter, a set of keys identical to yours is already sitting there. Jutakatim trembling, and when you get home, your original keys are still on your desk. You just duplicated an object by accident. It's a messy, terrifying validation that you aren't crazy. You try to recreate it, stayed up for 48 hours straight, missing your university exams, desperately trying to catch the exact moment the timeline stutters. You end up exhausted, staring at 2 identical, cheap brass keys, feeling a mix of profound isolation and manic excitement. You've validated the glitch, but you have absolutely no control over it. You go to sleep realizing that the world you thought was solid is actually built on a shifting foundation of sand. Level 3. The backyard chrononaut. At 25, you move from observing glitches to actively provoking them. You operate out of a damp garage rented under a fake name, filled with modified shortwave radios, old cathode ray tube televisions displaying static, and custom-built electromagnetic coils linked to an overclocked desktop computer. Your clothes smell like ozone and solder. You've spent your meager savings on old physics equipment and sketchy dark web schematics. This is your first real technical attempt at manipulation. You sit in the center of the coils, wearing heavy noise-canceling headphones, trying to delay a local radio broadcast by just a single second. Your first major success is small, but terrifying. You type a word on your keyboard, and the letters appear on the screen 3 seconds before your fingers hit the mechanical switches. The sheer thrill is intoxicating, but the backlash is immediate. The sudden localized temporal displacement blows out the garage's circuit breaker with a loud pop, plunging you into darkness. When you check your phone, the date has jumped forward by exactly 12 hours, and you have 5 missed calls from your landlord demanding rent for a day you haven't lived yet. This is where you realize a crucial truth. Pushing against time always pushes back against you. You fix the breaker in the dark, your heart pounding, knowing you've unlocked something dangerous, but you still don't understand the rules of the engine you are messing with. Level 4. The loop architect. You are 28, and you have stopped trying to break time randomly. You have learned the math, the underlying principles of localized causality, and the strict geometry of temporal loops. The garage is replaced by a cleaner, hidden basement studio apartment, paid for with small, highly suspicious stock trades you execute by exploiting tiny, 2-second data delays you create yourself. You wear a dark, minimalist jacket, your eyes permanently carrying heavy bags from a sleep schedule that no longer matches the sun. You create your first stable, intentional closed loop. You program a microcontroller to send a data packet to itself 5 seconds into the past, creating a perfect, self-sustaining loop that lights up a single green LED bulb without an external power source for 3 hours. That light burns on nothing but borrowed time. But then, the paradox catches up. The loop grows unstable. The air around the LED grows freezing cold as it draws thermodynamic energy from the future, and the bulb shatters into a fine white dust. If you have made it this far into the journey, it is because you have already understood that time is not a river to be redirected, but a tightly coiled spring under immense pressure. You sweep up the glass shards, your hands shaking slightly, realizing that while you can now build a loop. You still have no idea how to survive one when it collapses. Level 5. The Timeline Nomad by age 32. You have crossed the threshold from an amateur tinkerer to a true practitioner of temporal displacement. You no longer live in a normal apartment. You reside in a heavily shielded, windowless concrete warehouse on the industrial outskirts of the city. The space is dead quiet, dominated by a massive, custom-built ring of liquid nitrogen-cooled superconductors. You don't use stopwatches anymore. You have a specialized atomic clock strapped to your forearm that displays coordinates in absolute spacetime rather than hours and minutes. You take your first physical step backward. You displace your own body exactly 10 minutes into the past to correct a catastrophic equipment fire. Before it happens, you walk into the room and see your past self working at the desk. The air is thick, viscous, and smells overwhelmingly of copper, making it incredibly difficult to breathe. You quietly switch off a faulty power surge protector before it can spark, saving your equipment and your life. But as you turn to leave, your past self looks up, staring directly into your eyes with a look of absolute horror. The paradox ripples through your mind like a sudden, blinding migraine, erasing memories of the fire and replacing them with the memory of seeing your own older face in the dark. This changes the way you look at everything. You realize you can rewrite history, but every rewrite burns away a piece of who you originally were. Level 6. The Continuity Fixer at 37. You are a ghost in your own city. People don't know your name, but an anonymous, tight-knit network of high-level researchers, elite tech founders, and underground figures know how to contact you through encrypted, time-delayed dead drops. You are wealthy now, but your money is meaningless, stored in offshore accounts across multiple alternate timelines. Your job is to fix the temporal mistakes of others rich idiots who bought unstable black market displacement gear and accidentally prevented their own parents from meeting. You arrive at their mansions wearing a sterile, anti-static suit, carrying a heavy, metallic containment case that hums with a low frequency. You trace the fractured causal lines, calculating the exact, minimal adjustments needed to restore continuity without causing a total local collapse. It is grueling, high-pressure work where an error of a millisecond can erase an entire city block from existence. You spend weeks living in an altered state where 3 different versions of the same day occur simultaneously around you. You watch people vanish mid-sentence when a correction goes through, leaving only their clothes behind. You earn a massive reputation among the shadow elite, but you return to your quiet warehouse utterly exhausted, feeling less like a human being and more like a cosmic janitor cleaning up the universe's garbage. Level 7. The Causal Authority. You are 45, and you have achieved absolute technical mastery over the local flow of reality. You don't hunt for anomalies. You dictate them. Government agencies and global tech conglomerates seek your counsel, leaving urgent messages in secure digital vaults that you only read weeks before they are even typed. Your facility is a subterranean bunker buried deep beneath the Earth, running on an independent nuclear reactor to power a massive, stabilized singularity core. You wear a tailored, dark coat, your hair graying at the temples, moving with a calm, deliberate slowness, because you perceive every possible outcome of your movements before you make them. You are called in to prevent a global catastrophic event, a massive particle accelerator accident that threatens to fracture the continent's timeline into 1,000 unlivable pieces. You sit at a massive control console, calmly inputting coordinates into your system, while the world's top scientists panic around you. You don't just fix the accident. You weave a complex web of causal failsafes that locks the event into a harmless, self-contained pocket dimension. You save millions of lives, yet no one can ever know what you did, because if they knew, the paradox of their awareness would unravel the safety web. You stand alone in the observation room, looking down at the glowing core, realizing that absolute power over time means living in absolute, eternal secrecy. Level 8. The Architect of Eons by age 60. Your perspective has expanded far beyond human scales. You know, longer think in days or years, but in grand cosmic cycles and epical shifts. The subterranean bunker is gone, replaced by a massive, shifting sanctuary constructed inside a completely stabilized, artificial pocket dimension where time flows at whatever speed you command. The walls are made of dark, polished obsidian, reflecting the slow, mesmerizing drift of simulated galaxies. You are surrounded by massive, holographic projections of historical timelines stretching back thousands of years. You are the silent architect behind major historical pivots, subtly altering the outcome of ancient wars or the discovery of specific technologies to ensure humanity doesn't accidentally destroy itself before it can reach the stars. The decisions you make are incredibly heavy, carrying massive moral weight. An adjustment to a drought in the 14th century means erasing billions of people from the modern era to pave the way for a more stable future. You live with the crushing guilt of a god, your mind constantly managing 1 trillion variables simultaneously. You are a legend to the very few who know you exist, an immortal shadow guiding the species through the dark. But you have long since forgotten the simple joy of living a single, Unscripted day. Level 9. The end of time. You have lived for what feels like 10,000 years. Your physical body maintained by temporal stasis fields. Your consciousness woven directly into the fabric of the universe itself. You sit in the center of an infinite, silent void at the literal end of time, where the last stars have burned out into cold iron, and space itself is stretched into nothingness. There are no more timelines to fix, no more paradoxes to solve. The universe is dying of heat death, and you are its sole remaining witness. You stand in the absolute dark, holding that same cheap, cracked digital watch you had when you were 19 years old. The only object you kept from the very beginning. You look down at it, and for the first time in millennia, you smile. You realize that your entire journey, every level you climbed, every paradox you solved, and every timeline you rewrote, was just the universe's way of learning how to restart itself. You used the last remaining spark of energy in your singularity core to trigger a massive, localized causal collapse right where you stand. You force the infinite future to loop back and collide violently with the infinite past. As the blinding white light of a new Big Bang erupts around you, vaporizing your physical form into pure cosmic energy, the scene shifts. Somewhere, in a cramped, dimly lit dorm room, a 19-year-old student reaches for a lukewarm mug of coffee, feels a sudden, sharp wave of déjà vu, and wonders why his watch just ticked backward.